your internet is 200 meg speed, you have a mesh network set up that's communicating to 10, 15 devices, your TVs, whatever you want, your computer, whatever devices, you may want to set up a separate network for your workstation. Because then that way, that network for your workstation communicates to this, that can communicate right to your router or your gateway or your internet portal access, whatever that would be. If you're on cable modem, DSL, satellite, wireless, whatever it is, that unit can communicate right to that. Less traffic through it, faster speeds it'll operate, because this device can handle your traffic without handling any other traffic. These are just little factors you would want to think of. But the only reason I earlier really brought that up is because I'm not telling you to go out and buy a $500 router for this. I've showed you the sticker on there. You can use something like that. You can go to all these little tiny thrift stores around. That's usually what I do. I go and I look and see what they have. And you can find some pretty amazing deals. 10, 15 bucks, 20 bucks. Go into a store, go online. For the new ones, they're $300, $400. You don't really need to pay that unless you need that upper scale. For that upper scale, you can always buy one of those really nice fancy one with all the bells and whistles. Go from your cable modem into the fancy one. From the fancy one, you can go out to 5 different access points. From these access points can all go back to the fancy one, where you can share your videos, you can do all your data storage. They have USB ports. Let's see, this one has a USB port on it. Most of these that have USB ports should be able to do external drives. I've showed you the small form factor drive, the laptop drives. You can get 2 terabytes or more in that. Plug that thing in, set up the configurations, your login, all your user rights and everything to that drive on this unit, and you could share your videos, you could put your photos on there, you could do your backups on there. That goes back to, check out the backup video I already have. You can use that for backups. But you always want to use your secondary source too, not just that one. So you can do a lot of features with this technology, but you don't have to go out and pay an arm and a leg for it either. This is one of the main factors I wanted to bring out. So for this introductory video, my 101 collection, my computer 101 collection, my networking 101 collection, that I wanted to go through these factors. I want to point out these factors. I want people to know what's out there. Do your homework. Number 1, do your homework. Don't believe these ads and what you see. Know what you got. Like I say, when you have the computer, it's telling you have something, open it up, check it out, make sure that's what you got. Make sure you know what you actually have. Because I hear horror stories all the time. Oh man, I was trying to speed up my internet. I went out and bought this expensive router for $800. Why? I don't get it. Why'd you do that? Well, they said it would work better. How did it work better? What did you change by paying $800 for that fancy router? There's a lot of variables that come into it. It's not just this unit. If you want faster internet speed and you're sitting on a 30 meg connection, guess what? You got 30 megs of internet. I don't care if you go out and buy a $10,000 router that can do Wi-Fi 6 plus platinum or whatever they come out with, you still have 30 meg internet. That's a key factor here. Want people to understand that. Okay, you went out and bought an $800 router. What are you connecting to that router? If you got a 30-year-old computer that has a 10100 NIC card, you got max 100 meg connection to this router if it's wired through proper wiring, per proper termination, through proper links, not overrun over links, with no crosstalk, with no electrical wires running nearby, and who knows what else is in your walls or run around with it. You got a lot of factors. But it goes back to, that's a 10100 NIC card, 100 megs per second. You have a 30 meg internet connection. That router did absolutely nothing for you. It might be able to process all your data going through and the faster speeds and all of that, but it ain't going to do you no better when you go out to the internet. So this is one of the key factors I want to bring up with. Do your homework on this, because this can get complicated. It can get really complicated when you do this. You can run into a lot of variables with your wiring, your networking, a lot of things that can come up. So this is why I'm doing this. I know I'm repeating this a lot, but I really want everybody to understand what this series is about. This is not about go out and buy your $800 router, because when you do that, you're going to need each component, each laptop, TV, whatever, to be on the same wireless network or frequencies as what you bought. So you will spend a lot of money. But you got to realize, before you go out and spend a lot of money on these units, what's it being connected to? I know I've traveled around and I can see in California they're advertising 200 meg minimum speed, 300 meg minimum, 400 minimum. And I'm like, oh wow, that's impressive. They're getting 300 megabit a second minimum. Where I'm at, there's one or two companies out here that are advertising 100 meg. So it really depends on where you're at, and doing your homework, finding out what the companies actually offer. Find out, okay, if I sign up for this service that gives me 200 meg internet, does it include my router? What kind of router is it? What features does that router have? Do I manage it? Does the company that I sign up for manage that? The company that I sign up for the cable modem, I don't have access into that cable modem. They do. They manage that cable modem. That's another factor. So if you decide, oh, I'm doing my business, I'm doing banking, I'm doing people's taxes, and I'm doing all this stuff on this, there's variables on these. Like this unit here was a great unit. It has a firewall integrated in it. It has your router configured in it. It has your wireless configured in it. This one was in network. Still plenty fast for most people. I think basic standard right now is around the G, because the G is the 2.4 and 5 gig. Major factors, major differences in that. Two different bandwidths, speeds, a lot of things. Distances are factors with those two frequencies. But if you're looking for a basic older style where you don't definitely need the 5G connection speeds and the 5G stuff because you're sitting at home on a 100 meg connection or slower, and you don't want to go out and pay buco bucks for internet because you might be on a value plan, you might be on a senior plan, you might be on something else out there, or you're on a business where you just have a simple connection. You know, you're running a little shop, you know, you're running, you know, some small business, even some big businesses where you have a dedicated internet, fiber optic, whatever. This one here was very nice because one of the features this had on it is you can limit how much data someone was using. So you could say on this tube going out, you could only use 10 megs. So you can't have people all on your Wi-Fi using up 200 megs of data, slowing down all your internal stuff. So I know I've gone on a lot for this. I will do a lot more videos coming up. This is just the basic one right now. Give me a moment and let me continue. I know I've thrown a lot of terms at you for this video. Basically, I'll be covering a lot of this more in detail, but I want to cover enough so that you basically understand everything that's out there. Because nowadays it can get really complicated when you get into this stuff. So I know this video is going to go quite a bit, but I want to make sure that, you know, when you understand what this is, how this works, what you need, what you don't need, what you need to spend, what you don't need to spend, how far do you need to go. There's a lot of information. A lot. Because when I started out into this, it was basically, okay, I needed a cable modem. You went out, you bought a cable modem. The brand I had was the old Linksys style. They were stackable. Boop, 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 boop. Stack them up. Oh, I need a router, or I need a switch. You bought that, you plugged it in, and you just put it on top, you connected it. Oh, okay, now I need another switch. Put that one on top, run all your lines wherever you want. Oh, then they came out with this greatest thing called Wi-Fi. Bought that, put it on top, connected them all together. Pretty soon you ended up with this big stack. Oh, I want a firewall. Okay, well, you slip that in, put your stack on. Nowadays, if you shop around, this is it. This was what pretty much all those other units were now, is in this unit. So, part of the factor is if you know what you want, know what you need, two different want and need are, and then go look around. You might be able to find something, like I said, that's not new, that's older stuff that will suit all of your needs. I don't want people going out buying the newest, latest, and greatest, because really it ain't going to help you. Unless you got basically money to burn and you've got some high-end internet speed and you've got all the latest and greatest, you're running an i9, with, a 10 gig NIC, yeah, then you might want to go out and buy the latest and greatest. But if you're running the new 10100 gig NICs, a gig is really quick. That's a lot of data. But there's other people out there in the business environment where a gig don't cut it. You're doing video editing, you're doing a lot of other things, you're doing backups, you're doing, off-site storage, you're doing, a lot of other things. You're going to want the faster speeds. So I'm not going to kid you and say, oh, you'll be fine with this cheap thing. Depends on what you're doing. So that's why I said do your homework, know what you got, what you're going to need. Need. Not want. Need. I got all kinds of things over there I wanted in that router that I've never really even used. I've got it. I didn't pay retail off the shelf brand new price for it. So really, if you really, really want something like that, shop around. If you're in a big town, I'm sure somebody, some thrift store somewhere, some secondhand store somewhere, open box store, something of that sort, will have a unit that will meet your requirements for a whole lot cheaper than you could possibly imagine. So that's just one of the factors I wanted to bring up. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I can't buy secondhand. Why not? You bought a unit for $10 and say it lasts you 2 years and it goes out, you can go buy another unit for 2 years for $10. Well, that's great. You may go out and buy an $800 router, and what's the warranty on it? 3 years? 5 years? And then it burns out. That's $800, and then you're going to go out and pay another $800. These are just some small factors, especially with the economy being the way it is, with unemployment, with people getting laid off, people working from home. It depends. If you're working at home and your business is telling you, we're going to cover the cost, go out and buy this, go out and buy it. If you're working at home and the business is saying, hey, make do with what you got, and you can go out and go to a thrift store and find something for $15, upgrade everything, get you into good speeds, and hey, business might even recover that cost for you because it's only $15 instead of you telling them, oh, I need $800. Because you got to realize, how many employees does that business have? 40, 80, 100? If even at $10 a unit and you got to do that for 100 employees, that's quite a bit of money. It's not as much as $800 a unit times 100 employees. So these are some factors that I just want to bring up, especially with pandemic 2020, maybe a second wave of this coming, maybe a third wave, maybe a fourth wave, maybe a fifth wave, who knows what? Who knows where anything's going to be? There's people starting home businesses every day. You may need this information. There's new businesses opening every day. Businesses upgrading every day. This is information that people should know. You might have stuff, if you're a big business, laying around in the back room that they've used 5 years ago for some weird project that never took off, never went anywhere. Maybe you've already upgraded the wireless in your building and you have the old parts laying around. Depending on what parts they are, they may be reusable. They may be able to be set up in a way to be used in a way that you need. You don't always have to buy brand new. It depends on what you're going to use this for. Same thing, home environment. When you buy a new router, that doesn't mean that old one's junk throw it away. No, don't throw it away. You can go give it to a thrift store or a secondhand store. There's people out there that'd be thrilled to death to buy your secondhand stuff to upgrade their network because they're way behind you. There's some people that probably haven't upgraded their wireless in 10 or 15 years. They're probably still running wireless B. So these are some factors I want to bring up. Again, I brought up before cabling. If you're looking at upgrading your cabling, you may want to look at going to like Cat 6, maybe even Cat 7, going with shielded cables. Because if you're not going to make the cable yourself, you're going to pre-order it 20-foot long runs, you may find Cat 6 or Cat 7 equal or cheaper than Cat 5e. Goes back to my comment I made before. What is everybody using? I bought Cat 7 lines that I have for all my connections between my routers and stuff that I have in the house and a couple other locations. I believe, is that one of them? These are actually flat, but you can see right there on the connector, there's one major factor that's different. This is a shielded cable. I bought this cable cheaper than a Cat 5e cable. And people are probably going, wow, what, how? Because nobody was buying Cat 7. They were all buying Cat 6 and Cat 5e. This is the new standard that's out there. Nobody's buying it. This is rated for some astronomical speeds that I will never hit unless this technology takes off and everything, jumps mastery magically up to some higher data rates all of a sudden. This is like 10 gig network cable, but it's shielded. So why not?